Welcome to Fargo, the city of frost and fire. You're going to learn all about this north of Normal Metro, one person at a time. This is the Fargo Five. We're here today with Sunet Rubalcava. I didn't ask you how to say your last name before I came on. Why don't you help me out with that?
Rubalcava.
Oh my, you got quite a flair on that. Okay. And so Sunet, you were telling me before coming to Fargo, you were from Utah.
I'm not from Utah. I come from Utah.
Okay.
So I did my graduates in the state of Utah, Salt Lake City. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So before Fargo, it was Utah. Where were you before Utah?
California, Santa Ana, California.
And is that where you were born?
Yes.
Is in California?
Yeah.
Okay. So from sunny Cali to maybe a little bit more.
Colder.
Less exciting and more, California is very exciting. Everybody's partying all the time, or at least that's what the music videos would lead me to believe.
For sure.
I'm not sure how accurate that is. But so then from Party City, California to maybe more midline
yeah.
Utah.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you graduated.
Graduated,
What'd you have a degree in?
Yeah, I have a master's in education, culture, and society.
Okay, a master's. Okay, and then from there you said, I'm moving to Fargo, North Dakota. Yeah. What on earth inspired you to do that?
Well, it was actually nothing was planned. It was a decision that I took in a couple days or weeks or so. I signed up to become a missionary for my church, and so I was sent or assigned to be here at the Fargo area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So for your church?
Yes.
And what denomination is that?
Not a denomination that is known here in the Midwest.
So
it's
not Mormon in Utah.
Not Mormon,
That's okay. I thought maybe they got you when you moved.
Yes, not Catholic. The light of the world.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. And so they sent you to Fargo.
Yeah.
And then how did that get approached to you? How did they come to you and say, you're going to Fargo? Or what was that? You were living in Utah. You had already graduated.
I had already graduated.
What was your day to day? What job did you have at that time?
I was working, so I was doing grad school and I was working at a, what was the school? I can't remember the name of the school. Elementary school as a special education paraeducator.
Yeah.
And I think somehow I was also ready to move out of Utah at that point.
Yeah,
so
you were like,
I think the transition was a good choice.
And somebody approached you, though. And somebody approached you.
Yeah, there was an open call for anyone who wants to be part of a missionary trip. And so I signed up and got assigned to Fargo, and that's how it all started.
For Light of the World.
Yeah.
And so they moved you here
Yes.
to proselytize,
Yes.
to go. And so you're the type of person, were you going door to door, or what were you doing on your mission trip?
Yes and no.
Okay.
We also work with the community in different areas. For example, we worked a lot with homeless shelter and people with needs. So
Very cool.
It's aside from proselytism, there's also this part of community service.
Yeah. That's very cool. And then you ended up at Concordia.
I started working at Concordia.
Yeah.
So within a few months of being here, I got a job at Concordia College, and I started working at the Office of Admission.
With your master's degree.
Yeah, with my master's degree.
It was easy. And so what were you doing in the offices of admission?
I was recruiting students in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area.
Oh, okay. So you were like a recruiter. So then did you have to travel down to Minneapolis? Or
Yes.
what's that job even like?
So I had to travel mostly the fall time in Minneapolis-St. Paul. I lived there for most of I would say from September, mid-September all the way to, I would say maybe Thanksgiving break. I was just traveling back and forth to Minneapolis-St. Paul, living there for the whole weeks and coming back on the weekends just to get clean clothes, change my luggage, and then go back to the Twin Cities.
And what's it like trying to recruit people? So what's that job? So you're just driving out, you just what do? You go hang out at a bar and be like, hey, you want to go to this college? Or how do you catch people? How do you find them?
Yeah, to be honest, I had no experience of what it meant to recruit people on that front.
Yeah.
And Concordia College was I knew nothing about the space, nothing about the college. I had no expectations or anything. I just flew with it. And there's always a challenge. There's always a sales perspective to that. There's always a challenge to it. But ultimately, the best way is just to be able to be as upfront and provide all of the information that you can so that people
Absolutely.
can make their best decision.
Yeah. And then now, what position are you in now? Because you're here with Concordia College. You're still there.
Sure.
You're with the Tri-College Alliance of Latinos. That's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
so I am currently the diversity support coordinator at Concordia College, and I am
that's
also
a
an
different
academic
position.
counselor. That's a different position. I
What-
just moved positions 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years
Okay.
ago.
How long have you been in Fargo?
I think it's almost 7 years or 7 years by now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna be moving to our music break soon. I told you
For
they
sure.
go fast. But what I really kind of want to know is when you first came to Fargo, was that when they sent you here? That was your first time here,
That
or
was my
what
first time here
So
ever.
you were to live here. So you
Yes.
showed up.
Yes, I
And there
showed up.
wasn't like let's test it out or anything. Just this is where you're living now.
Yes.
Wow. What was that like? What was your first impression? Like you get off. What month? What month did you come?
I came in the month of December, so the most
my.
frigid
Oh my.
month
Well,
of the-
January's maybe colder, but yeah, it was cold. It was cold.
It was really cold,
Yeah.
and it was just getting to not knowing anyone. So it can be sometimes a lonely experience.
Yeah.
I wasn't by myself. I was with other roommates.
Yeah, other
and
people on the mission,
people
right?
on the missionary trip, and
so you knew them.
Yeah, for sure. So it was just learning the new culture.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different culture
Well,
from
and
the Midwest.
what was the big thing? Was there anything that big that really stuck out you from? I mean, gosh, from California to Utah to Fargo, those are three
Very different environments. Absolutely very different environments.
What is the most like Fargo thing that? I mean, is there anything off the top of your head? Anything that?
Yeah, I was surprised to hear people pronouncing. Whenever I would
Sure.
go to the store, people would say, "Do you want a bag?" And so I couldn't understand why people were saying bag, but then I got used to the accent. There's a different accent
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
and
there really is.
friends talking about hot dish and about Luden Fest and,
Luden Fest,
and
yeah.
pronouncing Norwegian names and
Yeah.
Norwegian words, and so
Yeah.
that was all new to me.
Very cool. Very cool. So you were kind enough to send me some music, which I really appreciate.
For
so
sure.
now we can, I didn't have to do the work of finding it. So we can, now you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation here. We've got Natalia Lafourcade with Aventurera.
Aventurera.
How did I do there?
Perfect.
Not bad.
Not bad.
We're going to listen to that. And then when we come back, we'll have Fargo Fun. So don't go nowhere.